Welcome to Free My Reviews. This is Chris Johnson with a review of WWE Super Showdown 2020. And hopefully, if you can tell by my demeanor, I am pissed. This is the second review of wrestling on this channel. Usually, this is a movie channel, but after talking to a friend, I reviewed NXT TakeOver Portland, which was a masterpiece of a show, and decided, I'll probably do this for the pay-per-views that I watch. And was hoping that the first WWE Raw or SmackDown pay-per-view that I will talk about wouldn't be the regular on-the-nose terrible. This may be worse than that, in that it may not have been massively awful of a show, but certain things happen on the show that's absolutely disgraceful. Absolutely disgraceful. And this is the type of show, if NXT TakeOver Portland was the type of show that reminded you of why you loved wrestling, Super Showdown 2020 is a show that reminds you of why most people stop. We started the show with the gauntlet match for the trophy in Saudi Arabia. I can't even pronounce the word. Something about a mountain. And they started with R-Truth and Lashley, and it's just a bare bones Raw match that R-Truth wins by luck and gets assaulted afterwards. Then he wrestles Andrade, and with a stupid finish of a accidental backwards headbutt, he wins that by luck. And then Rowan shows up and beats him up because his cage fell. AJ, and honestly, I was thinking about this when AJ was coming out. AJ coming to Raw was something I did not want for the face that ran the place in NXT. I mean, not in SmackDown, excuse me. On SmackDown, he was a big dog. On Raw, nobody cares. At least in behind the scenes story realm. Let's be honest, after he feuded for the Universal title in a short span, he's just been a mid-carder on Raw. He's not the big deal. He's not the big deal that AJ Styles is. Not like he was on SmackDown. And that's a big disappointment for me. And so he comes in, does some stupid moonwalks, beats R-Truth. Rey Mysterio gets attacked backstage, and then here comes both the highlight of the night to me, and also a thing that shows what's wrong with Raw and SmackDown. You all of a sudden see the OCs beat up, and then Undertaker's feet show up. Undertaker comes out. I'm biased. I love the Undertaker. And then he beats AJ with a simple chokeslam, and that's it. And I love the fact that I love the Undertaker so much, and the fact that it's probably leading to something for WrestleMania is why I'm not massively as angry about that as the other two things. But yeah, it's still kind of lame. It was weird. It's cool and lame at the same time. After that was the tag title match for SmackDown, which was fine, but I have to say the crowd tonight was awful. That was a bare bones terrible crowd. It's like they got really hot and then they got cold very fast. Very fast. And it affected a lot of the matches. Yeah, of course, a lot of the matches weren't all that anyway, but the crowd does affect that. A great crowd can affect a show and make it even better, and a bad crowd can make a weak show worse. And unfortunately, they were kind of dragging down what I ended up realizing was not a bad match. You had Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, and I think that could have been safe for Raw. Nobody cared. And that made me sad because Angel Garza's great. Um, Mansoor and Ziggler. I think some of the crowd is starting to catch wind that Mansoor, the Mansoor thing is basically WWE looking their nuts while doing nothing. Um, and then SmackDown to the Raw Tag Team title match wasn't too bad either. Um, but let's get to let's just skip the bullshit and let's get to the pieces of the show that were absolutely disgusting to me. The Brock Lesnar Ricochet match was a disgrace, an absolute disgrace. You see how Brock is when he cares. You see how Brock is when you put him with a great wrestler, usually a smaller wrestler. You see what he can do, and Ricochet is one of the best on the planet for not just his agility, not just for his spots, but his wrestling ability, his storytelling ability. So you have him with Brock, and the sky's the limit on the potential of that match. And you do a 90-second match where Ricochet does no moves, gets suplex to hell, gets F5'd. That's it. Ricochet looked like a bitch, and he had no need to look like a bitch. We all knew he wasn't gonna win anyway, but you could have let him go with the best show possible. But instead, y'all were just fine making him look like a little cocksucking bitch, and that was not necessary. What, so you can give more time to the Roman Reigns, Baron Corbin match that nobody freaking wanted, that we've been getting 80 million times for 6, 7, 8 freaking months now? Boring ass cage match, barely uses gosh dang cage, except for stupid little punching spots on the top of the cage like they're about to do anything, and they don't do anything. Most intense spot of the night is a Superman punch with a chain on somebody's hand. Oh my god, so hardcore. Tell that to Tegan Knox and Dakota Kai. How about that? Hardcore. And you get the Bailey match, the Bailey and Naomi match. It wasn't a bad match. It wasn't a good match either. I'm sorry. It was whatever. Did its job. Got the ladies the time and the respect they deserve, and then it ended. Best thing about it is neither one of them broke character, especially Bailey. Um, but the disgrace, I thought what they did to Ricochet, who I would love to go back to NXT. I thought that was disgusting. But to see the main event and to see them put the Universal title on an old man Hall of Famer who was never that great to begin with, when you have been setting up your champion as a beast monster who kicks out of 20 curb stomps, who can't be beat, who can't be kept down, setting him up for months as the guy, leading to an obvious confrontation with the dude who's really the guy in Reigns, and you decide we'll just have him lose to this old man who can only do two moves, who's already in the Hall of Fame and has no business beating young guys. In a stupid 2-minute, 3-minute, whatever match where he just keeps going for the mandible claw and homeboy keeps spearing him and he goes for the mandible claw. These stupid video game matches when there's no story, it's just bomb, 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 bomb. And that was fine for me when Lesnar wrestled Goldberg at WrestleMania 33. That's not fine for me when you got a guy who's been busting his ass for these past few years, both in the promos and doing his best in the ring. He comes up with another new creative fire with the Fiend thing and the Firefly Funhouse. And I've not been enjoying these Fiend matches for the most part because I don't like monster characters like that are completely indestructible and can't be killed. But then you waste this guy, you waste that character, you waste this loss on a Hall of Famer who's what? only gonna wrestle again maybe once after this. You had all the guys who are still with the company, like a Seth and a Daniel and a Finn, lose to this dude just so he can lose to an old timer. This is why they can't make stars. This is why they can't make stars. This is why uh, so many of us fans are frustrated, so frustrated with the Raw and SmackDown side of the company. Mind you, I am not calling it the main roster side. For me, the main roster is NXT. Anybody who doesn't like that statement can kiss my ass. You watch NXT, you see what wrestling could be. You watch AEW, you see what wrestling can be when somebody's really driven and angry. You watch main Raw and SmackDown, you see what wrestling is when somebody doesn't give a shit. Pedestrian limp dick matches, stupid ass storylines, dumb ass booking decisions, and the wrong people being given the wrong opportunities. The wrong people being champions. And I hope to God that the rumor everybody's trying to say about WWE doing a UFC and having people buy their pay-per-views on ESPN Plus, I really hope that that's not the case. All right? For my brother's sake, I hope that's not the case. Because then he won't be watching WrestleMania this year. Because I will never pay $50, $60, $70 on a WWE pay-per-view ever again. You open the floodgates with the WWE Network. It's been 6 years. If you have a problem with the network's money, raise the price for all I care. But if you think I'm going to go to another streaming service and pay 60, $70 for a pay-per-view, especially the way you guys do pay-per-views, get the fuck out of here. This was a disgrace. This was a disgraceful night. This was a disgraceful show. And the WWE should be absolutely ashamed of themselves for this. But they won't. They'll just do it again because of assholes like me who keep watching. Even though, in my own defense, I haven't watched in like a couple of months the main roster. Excuse me, Raw and SmackDown pay-per-views. I just felt like, hey, this is my channel. Only let's add more wrestling. Let's do it. Let's do this show. I regret it. That's 3.5 hours I won't get back. What is so hard about trying? You have the talent working for you. What is the hurtful nature of just trying to put on a good show? I am disappointed and I feel sorry for all the wrestlers involved who are so talented, who work hard each and every day for crap like this.